Hey everyone, and welcome back to Jaraci Cup 7. Continuing coverage now, we move back to Groupstage A, and we're going to cast a game between AGameAnx and letsrock. letsrock, if you remember, having won the last series, I think it was a bit of an upset against Houston. But he actually won that 2-0, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, short-term memory is good. This was like 30 minutes ago. How can I already forget these things? However, he now must put his skills up against the master, AGameAnx, who is playing Galzian as well. Gonna be going probably for ref mode first here. See, he's already queued a move order to drop the scanner off of the space runner. And then I guess move it back to the base. That looked a little funny though. But... So this is gonna be ref mode first, about as standard as you can make it. Not gonna go for any kind of greed here, where with like a base runner retire. And letsrock on the other side. Gonna be playing actually Coalition here. He was playing Conf in the last series we saw. He had the pick second here. A-Game picks this map, Tornal, I think probably just because he wants to play on it, more than anything else. But we do have ref mode here, a little bit of a oversaturation of CUs, I guess, but like it's not a big deal. He does need to get Skimmer Fab after this, so that's going to be just fine. And his opponent going with fast AEVs here, and this is not a terrible timing. He could have been probably about 10 seconds earlier, but that's not bad. But the rush distance on Tornal is actually pretty long, so... I think actually A-Game is going to be just fine with this, and if they do try to rush, they are going to move through this pass here for sure, so you'll see them on that scanner. And I don't expect A-Game to really be caught off guard by this. If you want to get an AV rush on him, I think your timing has to be pretty much perfect. As well, we have Carrier Production Upgrade coming out, which I'm not a huge fan of, because I think you can't really double produce AVs off of one base, so I'm not sure why exactly you need that tech. Skimmer Fab comes out first, so there's no greed coming out here for A-Game. He is going to build one as well. Try and get a bit of scouting information. And ref mode going to be done in about 4 seconds. I've got some thoughts on this map. I've been playing it a bit more recently, so I think I can talk about it now, finally. I think that the distance to the second and third bases are actually pretty far from the main. A bit farther than they are on most maps. And that kind of makes sense, because if you think about it, they're more or less in the same position that the first and the third are in the normal terrain crater. But the main, instead of being here, is here now. So obviously that increases the distance a bit. But what's really interesting about it is that if you go for like a really early game attack that maybe could like... Oh, that's interesting. What's this base runner doing? He wants to go for the extract, but this is not safe. I would actually just hold this back and wait and come out later. Anyway, it's really interesting because if you want to go for an early aggro move like assault chips or railguns or something like that, normally what you do is you push on the second and you hold them back into the main. And then if you're holding them in the main, even though you're not getting up onto 2 base, they certainly aren't either, so you're actually ahead. But in this map, let's say you have assault chips well rooted here, they can't get rid of them, well they just go over here and take this base instead. And so there's kind of it's a bit more difficult to fight your opponent on this map than, like, with an early game rush than it is on some others. So kind of interesting. Another thing to note, you obviously have the choice of which one is going to be your second, and most players are picking the one close to their extraction zone, because that means they don't have to hold as much distance. But there's definitely, like, if you want to be the defender, you might hold close to your opponent's extract so that you have, like, an easier time denying that, so... There's kind of some interesting choices you want to make when you're playing this. It's a fun map. AVs are out here, there's 4 of them. But, like, he's not going to be able to push on A-Game at this point, because it's just way too late, right? We have armor done already, power 1 is coming out, you can tell that's definitely a defensive-oriented move. He's going to get this extract too, although he will lose the base runner for it. And he's got armored unit fab as well. He'll be building them also, so I don't think he's going to really get any damage with these AVs. Maybe he kills this base runner, but it already kind of did its job, if you want to think of it that way. So down he goes. I like the heal, just buying as much time as you can, but... Second PC is out now, armored units 1, finished as well, and yeah, I don't see these AVs really getting any value. A-Game also just going for a little bit of scouting here, he does see his opponent's carrier still on the main. He doesn't know about second base, but he does know that he's not here. And actually, he's going to move his carrier out, so it looks like he's not even interested in just going up onto 3 base. He would win that way. Let's make that clear. I think he just has the eco advantage by a long like, by a wide margin here, right? But there's two things you can do with that. You can go up onto 3 base and double down on it, or you can just try and kill your opponent outright. Good point. Although, I think, it's true. I think with these skimmers, though, seeing that he wasn't on 3 base, you can sort of know that, going to 3 base yourself is just like an instant win condition. So yeah, I do think this is maybe not the strongest play here, but it will win you the game if you just right-click over there. But, I mean, we have full caster vision, so it's not exactly fair to say that a player would know that. It'd be a reckless move if you did that in a real game. I would say something about how you're getting a bit lucky. Hey, I said it was bad, alright? I said it was bad. Yeah, 3rd base is just like a win condition, right? This is really good, though. There's no way that these AVs are going to win this push. They don't have the armor upgrades at all. They have, like, armor 0. And when they start to retreat, now there's high ground against them. This is quite a good engage for those assault ships from A-game. But he still is trying, like, he's moving out with this carrier, looking like he wants to go over here and move toward his opponent's base, but he's going to come back eventually in the end. Armor 3 done as well. And at that point, it might not even be necessary, but he doesn't know. Maybe there are more, like, AVs out here somewhere. So, I guess he's doing that just to be safe. At this point, though, once you have Armor 3 and you kind of feel like your opponent's not pushing anymore, definitely send a couple of these guys out here, right? Because I think these 4 would be able to hold against pretty much anything. He's going to see tech as well. Or rather, the lack thereof. I guess actually there is air tech, so he's going to catch this. But, you know, he's already got anti-air tech, and now he's going to build them too. So yeah, definitely, like, I think you can push out, maybe with, like, 1 missile ship as well. Because you've got Armor 3. He's going to move into Siege now as well. But I don't so much like holding all of them just back in the base. Still, though, anti-air is out in time. And I mentioned this as I was casting letsrock versus Houston. If you learn how to just go eco into air pressure, you'll kill a lot of mid-tier players that way, because they'll just let you get ahead. But A-Game is no mid-tier player. He's not going to let you get away with that. Indeed, 3 interceptors already dying, or strike fighters already dying here. He's going for the full wipe. Oh my gosh. Oh. 5 for 5 right there, and I don't think he got a single salvager. That's what you'd call not worth. Yeah, I think that definitely kind of cements A-Game's position as overwhelmingly dominant, I would say. And yeah, he is going to take that cue to say, hey, if you've got nothing, really, I'm going to push on you. So here he comes with the entire army actually moving out of the base. He's so confident there's no attack coming onto his main, and he'd be correct. letsrock, meanwhile, taking to assault cruisers. Actually, this is a very good choice, because that's going to kind of deal with everything that A-Game has got coming at him, but he's really behind. There's no way around that. A-Game fully saturating his 3rd base as well at this point. He needs 1 more salve, but... Oh, yeah, he's got Siege Tech, too. Fun. Galzian Siege, as you know, is reworked from the last patch, so it'll be really interesting to see how it slots into the meta, and I think this group stage is going to sort of determine that. At this point, we've done a bit of testing on Galzian Siege, but not a whole lot, so basically it's much more expensive. It used to be Galzian Siege is very, very easy to get to, but it has a much more impact on the field as well, because it has more range, does more damage, and the barrage is more scary as well. I think also he buffed the EMP too. So definitely Gal Siege something to watch out for, and A-Game is gonna go for it in this game, so I'm not sure it'll be a huge, like a great, how do you say? I'm not sure it'll be like a great demonstration of how well it works, because he's obviously way ahead in this game already. I think any tech choice would lead him to victory here, but yeah, I want to see how it functions in this game. Siege Cruiser goes down, or Support Cruiser goes down here, and I mean, sure enough, letsrock really just hasn't got anything that he can use to like fight this push here, you know. He's got really no army. He's got a couple of air units, but that's it. Gonna grab this log module as well as A-game. Down it goes. He is pushing with the carrier to try and sort of assert a bit of a field of control against these AVs, but he doesn't even have power upgrades yet. But now that AC Fab is done, he's got to build that just instantly. And actually, I think that's what's on the queue here, so that's good for him. That might not be enough, though. I mean, obviously, it's going to be a lot of work to get back onto his third base here, but we've got Siege coming, too. And Siege can probably just infinitely deny this second base, too. And I think at that point, A-game is just set for victory. Not that we weren't expecting A-game to win this series, but still, I think letsrock is just kind of wet-noodled a little bit here, so it's a little unfortunate to see. Oh, he has two of these guys, actually. In the bright orange. Hard to ignore. EMP shell coming out for him too, so he's definitely doubling down on upgrades for these guys. I like that because obviously I want to see how it works. And it was buffed too, so these ACs are pushing. I mean, I just gotta think, like, do you recognize, like, what state is this game in, do you think, right now? Like, are you winning? Are you needing to just, like, solidify your advantage by pushing on your opponent's base? Surely not, right? That's gotta be a throw. Here's the barrage from Galaxian Siege. You can see it fires a lot less missiles, but much longer durations, so it's a bit more of like an area denial thing. Of course, some of the missiles don't render terribly well because of DOK, but you know. EMP lands on these ACs, and that's gonna allow sand skimmers to kill them. Just very out of touch with the current game state if you're gonna be like pushing on these on this Galaxian army, right? Like, what do you think is going on that allows you to push here, you know? I don't know. That seems pretty int, if you know what I'm saying. We've got strike fighters building as well here, but he needs to defend, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is really tough for him. A-game gonna back away when he sees these AV. He could even push on this if he wanted to, but Missile Barrage comes down onto the AC, gets decent damage here, but he has to kind of back away. You're right, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I guess what you're saying is this game is just kind of over already. But definitely pushing out like that, that's not what you want to do. If there was any chance for this game to work, it'd be the assault cruisers push out to try to get third base set up. Then they hold these positions, and when Siege gets there, you try to make something happen with your opponent not watching or something like that. But just running right into him, I mean, what are you gonna get done there? And it's gonna be heavy rail EMP. Yes, I love that. That is a really good choice for helping these siege cruisers just kind of sit on this hill, like permanently deny everything from his opponent, because you know, you get some heavy rails here as well, like on this flank, but if they try to push through the hills, you just EMP them. They can't push through these hills. There's just no way. That's a really good call. And, you know, you just gotta love seeing EMP on rails. Not a tech people go for all the time, so it's fun to watch. It's gonna be 4 of them, it looks like, but he is at fleet cap now. Air unit's gonna launch again here, but there's still anti-air. That didn't go away. Really, if you're gonna build air in this scenario, you've gotta wait for the anti-air to die. If you just use it despite anti-air being here, you're gonna lose air units. He may get a siege cruiser with this, though. Barrage, meanwhile, is coming down on the main base. Assault cruisers want to push in here. Tech missile barrage really kind of wasted here, though. One of them's gonna go down already. This guy stopped moving. They are gonna chunk the sand skimmers here a bit, but this is really not how assault cruisers want to trade. And this is gonna be a dead support cruiser as well as the salvagers off of that base. Heavy rails are here as well, so he can fight this AC. And that is going to be another dead AC. He's even got some assault rails, I didn't notice that. And then A-game, probably instead of replenishing the skims, yeah, he just wants to build armor, rails, siege, whatever. Those are the units that are going to win him the game here. This is a very diverse army from A-game. The carrier's in tow as well. letsrock sees, yeah, there's not really a way we come back from this. And he is going to surrender. I've actually just noticed maybe the one thing missing from A-game's play is he could have done a bit more artifact pressure here, but yeah, I mean, letsrock just really couldn't get anything done there from the very start. And that is going to be the first game to A-game. We expected it, but I've got to say, from what I've seen so far, it seems letsrock does very well when he's ahead, but when he's not, he doesn't quite realize that he needs to play from behind. So that's going to be game 1 going over pretty comfortably, I would say, to A-game. Not going to be breaking a huge sweat on that one. And we'll move into game 2 on Kalash Teeth. This one going to be A-game's pick. No, sorry, this is going to be letsrock's pick. It's still going to be Coalition, though, but A-game is going to mix it up by actually counter-picking Saban into him. So I think letsrock wants to be playing Con F against Coalition or Saban opponents. Maybe this, like, I think from what I've seen so far, he's generally trying to avoid the mirror matchup. So I like this from A-game, kind of throwing his opponent just a little bit. Gotta get in their mind, you know. Targeting Jammer just popped over here, and he's gonna retire this guy. I mentioned this in an earlier game, I think the one on Canyon, but this is a very good position for it because maybe it could be a little bit over here or something, but units that want to push over, if they push over the hill, they're jammed already. They obviously don't have line of sight on this targeting jammer, and so they can't really do anything, you know. It's very difficult to push over the hill in that position. My build here is terrible. Oh boy. Well, we'll see about that. It's gonna be LAV Fab first here, he's got 5 solves. And then I assume he pumps LAVs, but... or he does nothing. Okay, there we go. I think this is probably like LAVs into SC first or something. This is a build that you didn't used to be able to do against Coalition, but with the LAV buffs left last patch, it's been pretty decent. AV Fab coming out immediately for letsrock here, but it is, again, a little bit late. I think he could have been about 10 seconds faster with this timing, maybe even 15. Oh, okay, so it's going to be 3 LAVs into AV for A-game. But, again, I think you want the fastest timing possible if you're going to go AVs. Obviously, letsrock wins in this, you know, AV rush, if you want to say. But again, carrier production upgrade, not a big fan of it. I think this time I'll actually watch this carrier and make sure I'm right about what I'm saying. That he can't really build that many... Oh, wait a minute. This base runner didn't retire. Okay. So he popped the targeting jammer and then went for a retire order, but canceled it. Yeah, I agree. This isn't exactly the best build I've seen from you. But, you know, that's whatever. Like you said, gotta have fun. If you aren't having fun playing the game, you shouldn't play it. Yeah, that's what throws it off here. Well, letsrock will be building AVs. He's got the production upgrade done. But like once he gets armor, he stalls out and can only build 1 at a time. I think that's kind of what I've typically seen if I've ever gone for a production upgrade on these AVs here. Ooh, oh, he does go down. He wanted to chase down that LAV. He is going to get it, but unfortunately that makes it a 2-for-1 trade. Nearly gets this guy out, but not quite. And AVs are out here for letsrock. Again, though, no armor 1, and armor is very, very important when you fight in these kinds of battles. A-game doesn't have it either, but he will soon enough. Oh, he's going to go for a support cruiser off the back of this. Now, this base runner is a bit in jeopardy, too. If he throws this targeting jammer to just kind of slow down his opponent, he could be a bit nice here. This could be a bit like right there, though, I think, is a little better, because then you get a bit more time that these guys are in. Like, they have to cut through a bigger amount of circle. But yeah, I don't think this base runner survives here. And this is twice now we've seen A-game go out with the base runner. He got away with it in game 1. He got the extract, and then the base runner died. But this time he's not going to get it, so I think I would kind of criticize that. He should be keeping them back at home until he knows that the field is clear for an extraction, but... Then again, he knows better than me, so perhaps he's got some kind of justification for that. Carry gonna move back here actually, so it looks like the support cruiser is gonna take the second base. And if these AAVs push, he just wants to be ready to deal with them, bring the carrier up here, and have the AAVs in position to counter as well. But there is a support cruiser from his opponent as well, so this is actually pretty even economical footing. Still though, no armor 1 from letsrock, and that would be really good here. He's got the money for it too. Snipes the probe as well with that support cruiser, gets the LAV, so there's no vision from A-game. And he's actually not even going to be on the second base here, instead sends the carrier out to the middle where it can stop the push. But with no armor 1, you can't push here. This is... oh. Yeah, this is not going to work. He sees it, though, and he backs away. Fortunately, he can leave. But he might get run down here. After all, these AVs have the same speed, right? Ooh, I don't like this. Oh yeah, yes I did. I used to play on a laptop, but I upgraded about 3 or 4 months ago now to a PC with a very, very powerful GPU, CPU, so I'm quite happy with that. Thank you. Well worth the investment, I would say. So, A-Game repels the push here. Now, this is what I'm talking about, though, right? The AVs, obviously, if they're sitting here, I think it's very common when you're kind of new to RTS to think, like, they're not really doing anything, right? But they are. They're giving pressure on your opponent. A-Game didn't have his carrier on his, he didn't have his carrier on his second base here. He had it here to defend against the push. Leave these guys here. Make him leave the carrier there, right? You don't have to push in, because once you push in and you lose that fight, if you miscalculate, if you can win it, all of that pressure is just instantly gone. And yes, I have also been hearing about these 3000 series cards. Oh my god. Well, yeah. It will definitely be capable of draining bank accounts. I won't lie about that, but... oh, man. Those things are going to be insane. I'm pretty happy already with an RTX 2070 Super. That's enough for me. But, like, oh, you know? Actually, so NVIDIA did a webinar where they were talking about ray tracing and stuff, and I joined it because I was actually interested in that. Do you play any RTX games yet? I've done a little bit of Minecraft with ray tracing, just to see what it looks like, and it did not disappoint. No, I don't play on many ray trace games, though, but I've got it for when ray tracing becomes the standard, right? And you've got to figure that's going to be the standard, eventually. It looks great, you know? Yeah, have you played like Quake on ray tracing? Because Quake looked awesome too. That was a really good Quake was 30 FPS? Dang, really? I didn't know about that. But like that, I think is a really good demonstration of ray tracing because obviously Quake is a very old game, and yet you can still see like it looks like it could almost be new because it has ray tracing, you know. Changes it from these are 90s graphics that really have aged to this is like an indie game with kind of, you know, old school type graphics. By the way, letsrock going for air tech here. He actually has managed to get pretty decent hit on A-Game's base. A-Game going for a base runner spam here to try and get anti-air without having to invest into like missile batteries, which take too long, right? I like this. This is something new you could do obviously in patch. He could set down turrets as well if he needs them. Only problem is, when you go for air like that, you do kind of have a bit of a vulnerability in the ground section, and here we do see A-Game with a massive number of AVs, going to be marauding through his opponent's base. He's got armor 1 only, could be a bit more powerful if he had armor 2, but this is still a lot of AVs. Honestly, you might be right. But then again, maybe Coalition wouldn't either if they could sit down turrets, but I don't know. Turrets are not as strong as they used to be, so... He wants to go for the support cruiser, but I think wiping out the salves is better. I mean, people in glass houses. This is my trademark move, but definitely I'd say this has been a mistake here. Yeah, this is Bozo plays. I'd say the best nerf would be how often you can throw them out, right? Because everyone loves, right now, the effect that targeting jammers have got. When a targeting jammer lands on your whole army, you're just like, oh, you know, it just feels terrible, right? That's what's really fun about them, is that you have, like, that potential to just shut down everything. If you change the speed, if you change the radius, I think you'll kind of, like, hurt that, but if you change the cooldown, I think that'll make the targeting jammer less OP, but it's good for defense early. Yeah, true. Kind of as if you have like you have this ability ready for every push that your opponent makes or something. By the way, letsrock, good on him to find the one place where his opponent has not got he hasn't got what do you call it, anti-air here, right? So he's able to pick off a salvager, but those air units are not going to be able to give a huge amount of value here because there is a lot of anti-air on this field actually. It doesn't look like it, but there is. This base runner I don't think will extract, but this one will. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of targeting jammers here. Maybe he gets this one out too. I love this LAV kills the other one in the targeting jammer sphere. Oh my gosh, yeah, I don't know. Maybe he can actually get this one out because these guys can't catch him either when there's targeting jammers being deployed. Look at this. Oh, I love it. This is so BM. Meanwhile, Air, I was complimenting you, man. Why'd you have to do this? This is such a throw here. You're not gonna get any. You're not gonna get value for your Air by using it that way. There's so many targeting jammers though. Oh, he did deny one though. Down he goes. Actually, here's something I wonder about. The targeting jammer effect doesn't stack, does it? Like the movement decrease? Because if it does, you can imagine, but I don't think it does. No, it doesn't? Okay. Well, that is good. I think it certainly should not. Right. Oh, that's an interesting idea. Like, give the Saban base runner less HP, less armor. Oh gosh, by the way, this is actually a big deal. All of a sudden, we kind of see the opposite effect happening. A-Game is getting pushed down by a really big flank here, and he's not really ready for it, but... I mean, I don't know why he knew these guys were here. This is a little bit of a... This is a little bit of a mistake. Okay, so he's got a targeting jammer though that lands pretty in the center of everything here. He has pretty good anti-air, so again, air unit's a really big throw right now. But he's targeting the base runner? I don't know about that. This is gonna be like he should target the eco and he should go for a salvager wipe. Oh no. Oh no, don't tell me this is gonna happen. Well, okay, this isn't the most terrible because he is gonna win the AV fight, but like... Really good smoke there. Yeah, you really just want to wipe the salvagers when you get in here, though. You can tank the enemy AVs for a bit. You can see A-Game is kind of running circles around him a little bit here. He's able to get like a surprising amount of value out of just way less numbers. And now he's finally hitting the salvagers, but he's only going to get like 2 or something. These guys should det pack, actually. Well, never mind, they don't need it. Yeah, he only got 2 salvagers there. He could have had like all 4 and then started, you know, fighting the AVs. This guy's got veterancy, man. Look at him. He's a commander. Martin. That's my cousin-in-law's last name. Spelled differently, though. Anyway. Yeah, highly questionable. I would definitely agree with that. Because he's lost them all. I said this before about letsrock, right? It seems to me he does really well when he's ahead, right? But he does not do so well when he's behind. He doesn't expand to third base, which is really going to hurt him in top-tier play. And he thinks he can win fights that he really can't. He'll send air units into where there's anti-air, he'll lose them all. The AVs run in there, but instead of fighting the salves, he's like, I can just kill your AVs. No, not really. You don't have any armor ups, right? Whereas he's got one already. I think if he gets ahead in the early game, I really feel like letsrock is going to win, but if he doesn't, I don't know. His play just seems very questionable. This carrier, by the way, what do you do about this? He doesn't have any tech that can fight it right now. So the only thing he can do is power up his carrier and hope that Coalition is better than Sawan, but he's pretty behind in that margin, or metric. And not to mention, artifacts, obviously, A-Game, with a third one on the way out. And letsrock, of course, hasn't really started that at all. A couple of AVs moving into the back line, too. This is Coalition, not Saban. No defense in sight here. And I just don't know what letsrock can do. Oh, he's got AC tech, actually. I didn't catch this. But that's not exactly the thing you want to fight against, like a carrier push. Artifact extraction comes through from this big runner here. Power 4 is on the way. Obviously, that one also going to unlock the microwave emitter. And he can just push here. He's playing it cautiously like he should, but he really can just push here. Rel Fab on the way too. And he's not going to be too worried about this AC. Lone AV here doing his best to kill this support cruiser, but he's not going to get it. But it's a good try, and it keeps the AVs on that side of the field. Assault cruiser also certainly going to go down here to one more rail shot. Maybe two. But this only gets worse with time. I can't see letsrock possibly coming back from this. Indeed, this is also the 4th of 5 artifacts. And if I were A-game, I would just pop out one more base runner and get that win condition started. Railfab also finishing for him just now. Microwave emitter on the queue. And microwave emitter, like, does he even need that? Like, it's just icing on the cake at this point. This carrier is so powered, I don't really... Like, letsrock is pushing this, mind, but there's no way. Yeah. Well, I will say it was much less stompy because of the throw trying to get the support cruiser, and then he got in here too. This one looked a little bit back and forth, but... By the way, this would be maybe a nice targeting jammer spot right here. It'll actually stop the support cruiser from healing. So, you kind of lock down the healing that's coming in on your carrier. And that's true, air did do damage. I forgot about that. I think maybe at this point, power 5, this railgun should be on marked target instead of normal fire. Because I think that the carrier does the bulk of the damage here, but... Microwave emitter is not going to be used until letsrock tries to back away. He doesn't need it until then. He definitely has, I'd say, the winning push right here. Oh, actually, he has range like that. Look at that. So there it goes. I thought he had to be a bit further away. It's getting a little bit toasty in here. And letsrock's carrier finally showing its hand. This is not even power 1 on the queue, let alone done. That is going to be a dead carrier, and that is going to be the end of the series. A-game winning it 2-0, as perhaps you might expect. But letsrock with a bit of a better showing in game 2. Still, though, I think he really does not understand, I think, how to play from behind. And if he learns how to use air much more conservatively, and also how to get up onto 3 base and, you know, stabilize when your opponent has a small advantage, I think his play will be a lot stronger. Still, though, good games for sure. And thanks for tuning in.